Hello, 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 hello. It's good to be back. Shall I say, fellow Ghanaians? We are back again on this famous show of yours, Talk Shop, where we tell it like it is and let the chips fall where they may. It is very, very, very important that we tell it like it is and allow the chips to fall where they may. And as I always say, truth crash to earth will rise again. Oh. No matter how hard you try and crash the truth to the earth, it rises again. And you watch, very soon we're going to be unveiling many, many, many truths that have been crashed to the earth. And as I always say, as I was displaying my t-shirt, what time is it? And your answer is what? It's nation time. It's nation time. And folks, before I start today, let me beg all of you, because I've had everybody is writing to me, KSM, when is the walk? We are really excited, want to be part of the walk. Where do we get our t-shirts and all of that? Let me say something. We're planning the walk, I think we mentioned it some time ago, to hit the street on Independence Day, nation building march and everything. But folks, look at this. Oh. No excuses. Oh. Well, that small boy, I mean, boy tells me, say, my director and producer, 35-year-old man today, and they too know when I went to play tennis, and look at what they did to me. After the man beat me during the tennis, he floored me. I said, let's play another game. I said, it's not enough that you have floored me. Do you know what he said? He says he wants a big gap. I said, he's talking about the margins. Now, imagine, baby, me zero. Oh, yes, it's margin, baby, Anyway, the doctors say that I have a torn ligament, whatever it means, you know, but I should allow maybe a whole month or so for it to fully heal. And I don't want to go to the walk holding my hand in pain. No. I want to be energized and I want to be ready for that walk. So that's why you haven't heard me talk too much about it, because thanks to my director, I'm wearing a cast. My hand is gradually getting better though, but anyway, so that's why we have the reason we haven't done our walk. But today, folks, I want to talk on a few things. Few very exciting things happening in Ghana. And not recent, some are just happening, some are past that I want to comment on them. But check this out, folks. Check this out. There was a tweet that I put out, I think it was on 1st January 2023. I guess that was my New Year's message. 1st January 2023. And this is what I said in the tweet. You can see it. You know, I said, at the risk of making many people angry, I think it's disgraceful that the Accra International Airport is named after Kotoka. And as I said in my tweet, at the risk of angering people, and yes, I did anger a few people that, you know, what am I talking about? You know, Kotoka, this, that. Of late, I've had the debate coming up again. And the debate is about whether or not to rename the airport. Folks, let me tell you, where I stand, I expressed almost over a year ago, 2 years ago, that I think it's disgraceful that the airport is named after Kotoka. Why? Ask me. Right now, you can even ask the tourist people, I know everybody engaged in the tourism, the biggest traffic we are getting for tourism is the African Americans. And do you know why they're coming to Ghana? Because Ghana is where it all began. They love Ghana, they adore Ghana, and most importantly, they don't know of Nkrumah, they didn't see anything, but they are going to come in Nkrumah's country. That is how the strength of the Nkrumah name is with the Africans in the diaspora. So when they're coming to Ghana, it's like they're coming home to the land which got independence first under the great leader Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Now here's a scenario why I think it's so disgraceful. Imagine you're an African American or any person and you want to take a trip to Ghana because you love the spirit of Ghana. You love the black star of Ghana, which shone some time ago and is about to shine again. So you want to visit Ghana. You get on a plane, you travel out from the US, UK, wherever you're coming from, you touch down, boom. And as you are touching down, the air hostess says, "You have now arrived at the Kotoka International Airport. Welcome to Ghana." I want you to pause for just a second. You're an African American or you're from the diaspora, you're going to the home of Kwame Nkrumah. The touchdown at welcome to Kotoka International Airport. So you don't know. They say you are a visitor, you know. So you're curious. Oh, by the way, who is this Kotoka man? And then what do you say? Oh, he was the one that overthrew Kwame Nkrumah. You didn't get the logic. Somebody is coming to the country because of the influence Nkrumah had in the entire diaspora. They come and they land at the airport, and the airport is named after the person who overthrew him. And I said, I know that people find this contentious, but I really, really believe it is a disgrace. Let me tell you, give you a few pointers why I think it's a disgrace to name the airport after the person who overthrew Kwame Nkrumah. It's such a disgrace. Let me tell you why. Folks, Nkrumah and the role he played can never be underestimated under any circumstance. Yes, he was a human being, he was a man, he made his mistakes. But I'm talking about the totality of what Nkrumah represented is amazing. And for those of you who don't know, I'm sure everybody knows by now, that the coup that overthrew Kwame Nkrumah was staged in America. CIA has now published reports that talked about how they overthrew governments in Africa, including the 1966 coup of Ghana. CIA was behind it. And their own published records say that. So please listen to what I'm saying. Why would the CIA be interested in overthrowing Kwame Nkrumah? This is some small country. At the time, I think our population crowd was around 3-4 million or something. Why would the CIA be interested in overthrowing Kwame Nkrumah? Let me tell you why. Nkrumah, they saw Nkrumah as an African leader who knew too much. Just in case you don't know, I think he is the most published president ever in terms of books that he wrote. While as president and while in exile, you can't beat Kwame Nkrumah. But my point is this. We Ghanaians didn't know it or appreciate it because, of course, we had some hardships in Ghana. So, of course, the CIA and all the Western powers were not interested in Kwame Nkrumah, capitalized on the hardships in Ghana, and they gave the real gendarme, the local gendarmes, international gendarme. How Kwame Nkrumah was turning Ghana into a communist country? They internationally. And unfortunately, Ghanaians in Ghana were believing the gendarme, international gendarme against Kwame Nkrumah. So when the coup happened, I won't lie here, Ghanaians were so happy. Happy that Nkrumah has been overthrown. I'll teach you some of the songs that we were singing when we were kids when Nkrumah was overthrown. At that time, Nkrumah's effigy was on the Ghana CD. Nkrumah's effigy, Niti, was on the Ghana CD. One of the songs that we were singing, chanting up and down, I was a small boy. But one of the songs, CD, kwasi ebitri daso, CD, kwasi ebitri daso. We're happy. CD, kwasi ebitri daso. Who are we talking about? As in Poe put it, Kwame Nkrumah. You know, so the dam against him so much. So let me move forward. So he's overthrown and bastardized like there's no tomorrow. And let me tell you something that amazed me my freshman year. I went to the university in Connecticut called Trinity College. And my professor, I don't know, he's probably dead by now, Professor Steele. Professor Steele said something to me. I was in KSM and I'm here, Kwaku. That's what they call me, Kwaku. And we were talking, and Professor Steele told me right in my face, said, Charlie, he was glad when the coup came because Nkrumah was becoming too powerful and his acceleration to gather all Africans to think correct scared them. This is what the professor told me. And he said, me, I'm a white man. So of course I support that somebody like Nkrumah, we should get rid of him. It is in our interest. It's in the interest of our Brofo and all those Western powers that people like Nkrumah in Africa, let's get rid of them because they're going to awaken the consciences of the Africans. So Steele told me something. Then he asked me something very, very interesting. He says he's a white man and he celebrated the overthrow of Kwame Nkrumah. But what shocked him was how happy Ghanaians were. What's one to ask you? He was asking me, but what, was he that unpopular because Ghanaians, it seems to be the popular uprising against him, blah, 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 blah. I'm just drawing attention to something. That those who overthrew Kwame Nkrumah did not overthrow Kwame Nkrumah because they think he was a bad leader for Africa and so no! They overthrew Kwame Nkrumah because Nkrumah was emerging as a fierce and dynamite fighter for Africa. It is one of the Organization of African Unity, which is now called the AU, was his brainchild, Kwame Nkrumah. So the white folks or the Western world were scared. Say, where is this leader coming from? If we allow him to stay in power and actually gather few more Africans after him, we are going to be in trouble. Why? Because when you have conscience ruling Africa, the amount of plunder that Europe is taking out of Africa has to be tracked. They steal left, right, and center. Oh, foreign investors, your gold, your diamond, your oil. They take all away and give you some petty cash. And they said, if Nkrumah, if he gives him the chance, he's going to convert all these Africans into starting to think. Do you know what I'm saying? So one of my problems with Kwame Nkrumah is this. He didn't play his card close to his chest. Oh, he should have quietly maneuvered, I don't know how, but that's what I think. But Nkrumah didn't play his card close to his chest too. He exposed everything he was thinking about. He published a book called Imperialism, the last stage of neocolonialism. Imperialism, the last stage of neocolonialism. Do you know that the US Department protested against that book? As a matter of fact, that year, I think they were supposed to give Ghana some aid. I'm not too sure the amount, so I won't come and pretend I remember the amount. But something in the excess of maybe $30 million dollars, sorry. They cancelled it. How do you get up publishing this book? Imperialism, the last stage of neocolonialism. And Nkrumah exposed all the agenda, how they want to pillage Africa and how they want to rape Africa if we don't get together. So when Nkrumah put out that book, I said, no, this guy has to be stopped. This guy has to be stopped. And so the agitation to overthrow him started long ago. But they needed to find some reason. And when Ghanaians were complaining about some hardships and things, now, oh, let's take advantage and overthrow Kwame Nkrumah. So I'm saying this. They helped to overthrow Kwame Nkrumah, not because he was bad for Ghana. As a matter of fact, he was too good. He published his intention. And what he said about imperialism, the last stage of neocolonialism, is what is happening today. And we think we are independent, so we are free. But neocolonialism is at work big time. When Nkrumah when he fought for the independence and he declared independence and the Ghana flag was waving and people were chanting, "The Ghana, we have independence," what was the first thing he said? He said the independence of Ghana is meaningless. Tio, the man has been fighting for independence all the time. He gets the independence for Ghana. The British Union Jack flag goes down, the Ghana flag goes up. He's addressing the millions of Ghanaians who have come to celebrate the Independence Day. What does he tell them? He said, well, he did say, at long last, the battle has ended. Ghana, our beloved country, is free forever. He said that.
At long last, the battle has ended. And thus, Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever.
But the bulk of his mission then, he says the independence of Ghana is meaningless until it is linked up with the total liberation of the African continent.
Our independence is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of the African continent.
That was deep. So one person who is independent, all the rest are under colonial rule. You can't go anywhere. They will sabotage you through them. So Nkrumah says, let's fight and make sure that it's not only Ghana that is independent, but our independence will be meaningful only when it's linked up with the total liberation of the African continent. So this was his mind, though. But he didn't play it close to his chest. He exposed it, and they said, we'll see. Nkrumah was in power for what, 9 years or something? Look at the stuff he did. But they had to stop him because he was getting too powerful, and they were afraid. And Nkrumah would go to the Organization of African Unity, and one of the things that Nkrumah told the Organization of African Unity, back then it was the OAU. Now it is called African Union, AU. In Nkrumah's time it was called Organization of African Unity. Now it's called AU. And Nkrumah went to the OAU to make some serious presentations. He said, in order to fight the imperialism and the neocolonialism, Africans must adopt the whole of the continent. We must have what we call the African High Command.
We should, without delay, aim at the creation of a joint African military command. There is little wisdom in our present separate effort to build up and maintain defense forces, which, in any case, would be ineffective in a major world conflict. If we examine this problem realistically, we would ask, which single African state could protect itself against an imperialist aggressor? And how much more difficult this would be when some states are allowing the imperialists to maintain bases on their territories. Only our unity can provide us with anything like adequate protection. Those problems can best be met within a unified Africa.
Well, see, OAU, we must form an African High Command. Every African country is going to contribute troops to the High Command, and when we need to go and help other African countries fight or whatever, we should have our own High Command. That is what Nkrumah proposed. You know what he proposed next? We should start thinking of developing our own currency.
We must begin to build immediately our own continental common market. For it is easy for anyone who studies the Common Market Organization closely to realize that the Common Market is aimed at harnessing the African countries to satisfy the profit lust of the imperialist bloc and to prevent us from following an independent neutralist policy. It is easy to see that the imperialists and the colonialists are determined to retain the African countries in the position of suppliers of cheap raw materials. If we do not resist this threat, and if we throw in our lot with the common market, we shall doom the economy of Africa to a state of perpetual subjection to the economy of Western Europe. We must each see ourselves as part of Africa in order that we may face colonialist imperialism and its new form, neocolonialism, on a continent-wide front. Africa is rich and not poor.
Chabon, foolish man. Who born dog? We told Kwame Nkrumah, who born dog? But check this out. Check this out. Years and years and years later, after the same Europeans have to overthrow Kwame Nkrumah, and we're all happy, what happened? Now they have the European Union. And do you know what the High Command is? The NATO alliance is their High Command. Somebody has here. So the high commander we killed in Nkrumah for Abrofunu took that same idea. They have the European Union and they have one currency, euro. Why wouldn't they get rid of Nkrumah? This man is too smart. This man is looking at us, eyeballing us. We can't tolerate that. Of course, Nkrumah was educated in the US. He went to Lincoln University. And while he was there, he got in touch with some of the great thinking brains. That's when they discovered Marcus Garvey, George Padmore. These were all significant African Americans who were all happy when Nkrumah came back to Ghana and then gained independence of Ghana. I think even W.E.B. Du Bois, you know the Du Bois Center, one of the most brilliant Pan-African, he was African American. He died in Ghana. And he was buried at what we now call the Du Bois Center. His name is that Du Bois. All I'm saying is this, folks. Kwame Nkrumah was not in the interest of Europeans. Why? He was slowly gathering momentum to get Africa, if not like all united per se, we have a high command and we have a common currency. That was his idea. You know, so it is not in the interest of Europe and Western to see people like Nkrumah thriving. No. They wanted him down. And CIA made sure that they would collapse. Because when he wrote the book, Imperialism, the last age of neocolonialism, he exposed them all. Do you know how far back colonialism goes? You go and read your history about the scramble for Africa. The struggle for Africa, where they all met, European powers, they got together in Berlin to plan African year. This is the continent that has all the resources, and we need to steal from them. But let's plan our stealing. So let's all get together and have the Great Conference of Berlin, and then decide amicably. Okay, the British, you can take Ghana and Nigeria and this. Okay, the French, you take Togo, you do this. The Portuguese, you take that. They sat and carved out Africa and mapped out Africa. We were sitting out somewhere. When we were sitting out somewhere, we didn't know that some people have done due diligence on Africa and realized that this continent is too rich. This is where we're going to get all or most of our resources from. But we can't do that unless we colonize them. So we all colonized, and that's another show for another time. Okay? But after colonization, the struggle for independence started. Yes. And people argue a lot, who started it? It was the UGCC, which is true. The United Gold Coast Convention, UGCC. Yes, they started with the agitation, and there are two kinds of nationalism. We have one that we call the mass nationalism, where everybody gets involved. And then we have something called the proto-nationalism, where the four figures of the proto-nationalism are just the big men in society who want a better share of something for them. So the UGCC, United Gold Coast Convention, had the semblance of a proto-nationalist group. Big people, Scafo, Power Grant, only Kwame Nkrumah. So yes, UGCC was there before even Nkrumah came in. So all this debate about who founded Ghana, because the UGCC, they were the ones that invited Kwame Nkrumah. The UGCC was there before the CPP came. So if you're talking about founding Ghana, it belongs to the UGCC. But let me tell you something. Nkrumah came and he realized that the UGCC, we have the men. They were so gentle and they were so slow. And Nkrumah was in a hurry. Read the books. Say, no, we need self-government now. When the UGCC said, oh no, self-government at the soonest possible time. Now. So that is coming from for you. Even the way Nkrumah's party, do you know Nkrumah's party? The Convention People's Party. I'm going to end on this note, then I'll move on to my next subject. Nkrumah's party was the Convention People's Party. How did he come up with the name? Because when he came from US at the invitation of the United Gold Coast Convention, UGCC, he as a dynamic general secretary, increased the branches across Ghana. I think when he came, there were only about 13 branches across Ghana. He multiplied them to over 500. Okay? Now check this out. When he realized that still the vim from the UGCC, in a low, was I should break off from this. We have the men at KSM. Maybe I should break off and establish my own party. And that's what led to the formation of the Convention People's Party. But do you know what I want to tell you about the formation of the CPP? Nkrumah, the thinker, said, hey, Charlie, we have built the UGCC. It has now grown from a proto-nationalist to a mass nationalist movement. And the only thing that is common in the minds of Ghanaians is the word convention. UGCC never wadded. So Ghanaians were just called a convention. Tell a convention. When they say convention, they were referring to the UGCC. So Nkrumah in his wisdom said, okay, I'll form a party, but let me start with that word convention, because that's all they know. And hence, Conventions People's Party. And with the BT UGCC, like there's no tomorrow. And everybody was suing there because he was the most dynamic person anyway. That's why I call it the Convention People's Party. CPP, the roots, no. But at the end of the day, I'm saying, this is Nkrumah. He fought hard, and at the independence, he was saying that the independence was meaningless. We need to have all of Africans join us, and then we can do what we want to do. That is Nkrumah. And that is why it is the leader of the Africans in the diaspora, whether you like it or not. Okay? So, a person like this has done all these things for Ghana. Let me tell you a very quick one. Guinea, Sekuturi. When Guinea decided that no, we want our independence, you know what they did to Guinea? They said, you don't want the French rule anymore. You will see. We will make you suffer. The French withdrew everything they had from Guinea. Their cars, paper clips, all of you saw United States French foreign, they took away everything and leave Guinea stark bare. Like challenging Guinea, you want your independence, we will show you that you are nothing without us. We drew everything from Guinea. Read the books, it's there. And when that happened, do you know what happened? Our Kwame Nkrumah, the useless dictator, Kwame Nkrumah, said, Charlie, Guinea is in trouble. Ghana can help Guinea at this point. So I think he gave Guinea an amount of loan. I'm not too sure of the exact amount here, so I won't commit myself. But they gave Guinea a loan, said, Charlie, get yourself together, because the French want to collapse you. That's why they moved everything overnight. It should be here's some loan to get back your feet up. That was Nkrumah's crime. He was giving our money to African countries. Please. All the freedom fighters in Africa, Ghana was their home. Go to South Africa when they were fighting against apartheid. They came to Ghana. They were based in Ghana. And Nkrumah was telling them how. Back in the day, most of every dynamic South African nationalist had a Ghanaian passport because it was home for them during their struggle. Nkrumah made it a home for them. So let me cut this short because there's so much I can say about Nkrumah, but we'll be doing this show. So when a person like this leads a country and an airport is built, or they want to name the airport, do you name the airport after the clown who took money from the CIA to overthrow Kwame Nkrumah? Isn't it a disgrace? And that's what I put in my tweet, that at the risk of angering many, because I know many people will be angry, because there are many people from different persuasions and political thinking who condemn Kwame Nkrumah, there's no tomorrow, whatever. Me, I'm giving you my opinion, and I'm telling you that these are the facts. Well, what value does Kotoka have in the scheme of national events? I hear he was one of the commanders of some battalion and something like that. But what was his locus before then? What can you refer to? So, Kotoka this, and that, and that, and that. So, he had that national value, and it is entitled, we are entitled to name the airport after. There's nothing like that. If there's something that like that, I don't know, please fill me in with your comments that he did this, and that, and that, and that. All I know that he was a member of the NLC, the National Liberation Council, that was led by Harley, and there was a Frifa, and there was a Kotoka, and they were, I don't remember the names. These were the big hawks of the National Liberation Council, and Kotoka was one of them. I think he might have made the announcement that Nkrumah has been overthrown. I'll double check that and let you know. But I think he probably, the morning of the announcement that Nkrumah has been overthrown, either him or Harley, one of them made that announcement. But that's their claim to fame. They made the announcement. And I am saying this, and I keep saying it, that I do not think that the national airport should be named after somebody who basically disrupted the Pan-African movement and left Kwame Nkrumah in exile. The naming, as I said, I hear people are wondering around that they should rename the airport Kwame Nkrumah International Airport. I stand by that. I stand by that. And you can see from my tweet that I tweeted some years ago. Even before the tweet, that time there was no social media. So I just talked about it verbally. And it's interesting how I've always been against the idea that the airport hasn't been named after Kwame Nkrumah. Later on, somebody came to explain that when the counter coup happened and where there were shootings and things, that was the area that Kotoka died. When the counter coup, there was a counter coup that tried to overthrow the NLC. You know, the National Liberation Council, NLC, they overthrew Kwame Nkrumah. You know, and then there was a counter coup that wanted to overthrow the NLC, led by one guy called Yeboah. I think there was a Yeboah and Achekakra. But evidently, there were gunfires everywhere, and at the airport, I think that's where Kotoka lost his life. So that was a landmark where he died. But naming the airport was not because he had done anything magnificent for this country. And when I say the KSM, don't say that or you make the Evers angry. I said, who said that? If you like, let's do a poll, and you see many people from Everland who agree with what I'm saying. And if they don't, it's okay. But we don't name a person based on tribal affiliation. We don't. We name a person and after something substantial. And I don't think that anybody deserves the name on the now Terminal 3 called Kotoka International Airport. No. So I associate with all the calls to rename the airport. Those of you who don't agree, it's okay. It's okay. Opinions are like noses. Mine is this, that there's no way that the airport should be named after Kotoka. No way. And that's my opinion. End of discussion. And of late too, I've seen some comments be about, you know how Jandam starts everywhere. We talked about Jandam. Throw it out there, like what right does the NDC have to rename the airport, and what right does, please, can we get off that crap for a minute? When they built the Kumasi International Airport, and I don't want to say anything, but the funds for the building of the International Airport started as far back as your Mahama's time. But that's not the issue. You see airport, you know, and I hear it's a beautiful airport. What did Akufo-Addo name it? He has chosen to name the airport after Nana Ajiman Prempeh, who was an Ashanti. What do you know? Hey, what's my quarrel? It's cool. What do you know? It's on order. No, Ashanti, whatever. There's no debates about it. What's her name? Eslawusu, who was the communications minister. I think there was a tech and IT hub in Achimota, possibly constructed under her supervision or whatever. But guess what? She named, this is a public unit. It was built with taxpayers' money. She named it after her mother, Christian Equia Brago. That's the name of the tech hub in Nkrumah. Who's fighting with that? Who's fighting with that? But when I say, and others are saying, the airport should be renamed after Kwame Nkrumah, What's the big deal? I think me, I don't know. I've heard the discussion come out, but I hope it does, and I hope there's a grand reopening and renaming, I think, as the Kwame Nkrumah International Airport. It's very, very, very well deserving. Nkrumah didn't play his house close to his chest, his game close to his chest, and they were exposing him. And the white folks, Europe thought Nkrumah was dangerous. Not only Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba. There are 2 African leaders, just to mention a few. There are plenty that the CIA thought that these people, they are sensitive, they are too much. Kwame Nkrumah, number 1. Even Patrice Lumumba in the Congo. Do you know the worth of Congo? The minerals they have there? And do you know why they had to kill Patrice Lumumba as well? And install their puppet Mobutu Sese Seko. When Mobutu died, they wanted a place to bury him. Congo, nobody wanted to bury him. They were traveling around with the body just to bury him because of his evil and what he did in Congo. But he was put there by Europeans who wanted a puppet. So for you Ghanaians who are jubilating that you are too Kwame Nkrumah, you are just jubilating because you are thinking like the Europeans did. Let's get rid of him. But you're not thinking in advance. This man had an agenda for Ghana. Atomic energy. He built and commissioned the atomic energy. And that is all thinking in the long term. How to upgrade our electricity system apart from the dam he built, use atomic energy to electrify the place, use atomic energy to do tools for creating stuff. We'll talk about that later. But that atomic energy, as soon as the coup came, do you know what happened? They surrendered all the technology because Nkrumah ordered them from Russia. All of that was surrendered to the US. Why? Because they wanted to know the capacity of whatever Nkrumah was doing. So folks, let me just end on this, that I really, really do hope, and I appeal to the president, take this seriously. Maybe this Independence Day is too short, but somewhere along the line, it doesn't take any official day to declare the name. Declare it. Those who agree with me, fine. Those if you don't, it's okay. But I think it will be a great thing to see in Ghana the Kwame Nkrumah International Airport. Now let's move on. There are few things too. When we started this thing, and I was saying that there was so much vim coming in, and that we should stop doing business as usual and start doing business unusual. Let me end on this thing. We'll continue in the next episode. One of the most wasted things I see happening in Ghana is the vetting. Master, I think it's so useless to come and sit in front and then you ask them when they were married and all those happy personal questions. No. But this is my idea of a solid vetting. Anybody who has been nominated to fill a position should be given at least 20 minutes to do a PowerPoint presentation of what they hope to do with their ministry. They may announce the deputies, but that is not their power. But in the future, the ministers, if you are nominated as a Minister of Health, come with a PowerPoint presentation, 10, 12 pictures, and project it to the vetting committee. This is my vision of how I'm going to change the health sector. This is my vision of how I'm going to do this agri sector. Show us by PowerPoint with numbers and figures, one by one. And when we are done, then the committee can ask you questions. How do you hope to accomplish this? Or when you accomplish this, what would you do with it? Do you know what it will do, folks? It will force the ministers to think, because they actually have to think and plan of what they will do in their ministry before they go in, not to plan on how to answer questions. When you go and sit down there and talk about your CV, me say, talk about your CV, then they throw questions at you. So are you married? And all those petty... No. Treat it as a serious obligation. You're a minister. You're going to be a minister of state. How do you handle the segment that you'll be giving? Come to Parliament with a PowerPoint presentation. Everybody that is there has been nominated. And when you come and sit down, just introduce yourself and do your PowerPoint presentation. This is what I want to do. These are my statistics. These are my figures. Come on, professional. And then let the committee ask questions about your PowerPoint presentation. I think we have to upgrade ourselves, so our thinking and everything. But you know, I've been still cool because I'm still allowing His Excellency JM and Excellency Jinupuku to settle in and start get the group going. Already they are doing stuff, you know, within his 120 days, but I want it all sorted out. Now, I just realized that they have got their Council of Elders now. Council of Elders, let me advise you, don't be like the same Council of Elders that Nanado had. You just sit down and collect your per diem. What did you utter? And then it is something is going to happen and the Council of State has advised the government or the president to do this. Came and sat down and chopped your per diem. And I hope that President Mahama, if you have your elected Council of Elders, talk to them and challenge them to challenge you. Tell them to be on the ground. Because when they are not on the ground and you don't know what is exactly happening on the ground, that's how you lose. One of the reasons, and this is the last thing I'll say for this episode until the next one, one of the reasons MPP lost so potential was the media. Yes, because the MPP had decided that there are certain friends in the media who are influential, so let's give them plenty money to chop and make them comfortable. Buy them cars. Do this for them, and let them just project how good we are doing. So honestly, the media, most of them who were on payroll, just projected the amazing things that were happening. And sadly, even the government forgot that Omotuamuka to do that and started believing in the lies. And that shows how far the people are ahead of even the media that are reporting things. People read the media say, "Oh, say I could hear some." So I use this point to urge the media also to rise up. Charlie, I'm ending now. Makasa enough. But the first thing is this: I stand by the decision to honor Kwame Nkrumah by renaming the airport after him. I stand by it. I think of all Africans who have emerged in Ghana, Nkrumah is the numero uno. There are plenty of people who need to be honored, but not on this show. Nkrumah, I think the whole of the National Theatre should be called the Nkrumah National Theatre or Art Center. Beho, who created the Ghana anthem. These are the people we want to honor. They have left footprints of time in our history. There's no history of Ghana without Nkrumah. There's no history of Ghana without Philip Beho. Are we kidding? And when we choose to honor people and we have cheapened the award system, the Order of the Voter or the Member of the Voter, of the Star of the Voter, is a heavy-duty achievement. When I was watching the last one, Howard Kumsin was honored with the Honor of the Voter. For what? Because he was able to shoot a gun at the police station. Such a character is awarded nationally with one of the highest awards of Ghana. Why do we cheapen things like that? Godfrey Rodami, Attorney General, what have you done? What is the big thing you have done for Ghana that Godfrey Rodami should be named and honored with the Star of the Voter or the Order of the Voter? Nothing. Let's stop cheapening things. You don't want to name the airport after Kwame Nkrumah, but you give Godfrey Rodami a Medal of Honor. Let's be serious here in this country, yo. And the names goes on and on and on. I always say that maybe one or two people, that the man that touched my heart, that it was awarded, and I said it was long overdue, was Kwawansa. Apart from that, many of them were just gifts. This man, Wallahi, what's his name? Hamid, very good friend of mine, and he knows it. What has he done? Even right now, here the special prosecutor is trying to chase him for some alleged irregularities on the national honors of the voter. Let's not cheapen these awards, folks. We are talking about a change. We are talking about business as usual. I say my dean because I feel still Mahama is putting things together. And when all is done and all is set, we'll still be here and we'll talk things. And I've apologized for the delay in working. My evidence in you. My director chairman, sir. So here's my evidence. But it's coming on soon. Nation time, folks. Let's end it here on my favorite quotation: truth crashed to earth. shall rise again. Catch up with you.